Okay, so for the cone, we have a slightly different problem we have to solve here. So the volume of a cone worst picture of a cone ever drawn. So the volume of a cone is what?
It's 2 pi r times this height over 3, or yeah, pi r squared times the height over 3.
Pi r squared times the height over 3. And what's the surface area not including the bottom?
It's pi times r times this distance here, the slant height.
Yeah, and the slant height we can find by the Pythagorean theorem, which is square root of r squared plus h squared. Okay, so these are just the formulas for the cone. What is different about these formulas compared to what we had before?
Well, now we have 2 unknowns.
We have 2 unknowns. We have 2 unknowns.
But we only know that this equals 1.
Right. So I'm gonna simplify. I'm gonna write down our prior number, and we're gonna see if we can beat it.
All right.
3.84. But this is a slightly more challenging problem because we have 2 unknowns here. When we set the volume equal to 1, we can either solve for h or r squared. But since the h only appears once and the r appears twice, maybe we should solve for h.
All right.
Okay. So when we set the volume equal to 1, we get 1 equals pi r squared times h over 3. Can you tell me what that means h equals?
So h equals so you have to get the h over the other side, right?
Well, I want to keep the h on this side actually, because I have my h and then I have the equals, but the problem is this pi r squared and the divided by 3. So what can I do? What can I do to get rid of that 3?
Just multiply by 3.
Okay, so h equals 3. But that's really what pi r squared h equals.
Then you could multiply, or you could multiply by the reciprocal.
Ah, very good.
So 1 over pi r squared.
Yeah, so h equals 3 over pi r squared.
Alright.
Okay.
So we can plug that in.
We can plug that into this formula, and now our surface area formula, remembering that h equals 3 over pi r squared, our surface area formula is pi times r times the square root of r squared plus h squared. Now h was 3 over pi r squared.
Yeah.
So we got to square that. 9 over pi squared times r to the 4th.
All right.
Okay. Now this looks like a pretty complicated formula.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe what we should do actually is go to Mathematica.
Alright.
To simplify setting this, because all we're trying to do is see if there is an r that makes this surface area less than 3.84.
Alright.
And if there is an r that makes the surface area less than 3.84,
then the cone is the best shape out of these.
then the cone will be the best shape out of all of these.
Alright.
All right.
All right, let's go to Mathematica.